This video has been edited to shorten watch time by removing sidebars, evidence handling, and long pauses. Witness testimony remains intact, with minor cuts to hesitation words and stutters.
I have whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sergeant, I'd like to move to a different area. At some point during the course of your investigation, you and Michael Proctor interviewed Chris and Julie Albert, correct?
That's correct.
That was at the Albert residence, the Chris and Julie Albert residence, is that right?
Yes.
On or about February 10th, 2022?
Yes.
Does that sound right?
It does.
Okay. At any point before or during that interview, did Michael Proctor discuss with you a previous relationship that he and or his family had with Chris and Julie Albert or their family?
Yes. As we were walking up to the door, he stated that he knows of them from around town and through friendship. Did
that cause you any concern that the case officer that had been assigned to the case, dealing with, obviously, involving the Albert family, had a pre-existing familiarity or relationship with any members of the Albert family?
Yes, I followed up asking him if he hangs out with these people, how well he knows them. And he stated that he does not hang out with them. They're not his friends. He just happens to know them through people in town.
Did he tell you any specifics about communications he had related to Chris and Julie Albert?
No, he did not.
Did he tell you any specifics about communications Michael Proctor had with his sister as it pertained to Chris and Julie Albert?
No.
Did he volunteer any information about the relationship that he might have or his family might have, including his wife, with Chris and or Julie Albert?
That information did not come up.
Did you ever later learn, now I'm taking it outside of your conversation with Michael Proctor, did you ever later learn about friendship or connection that he and his family, Michael Proctor's family, had with Chris and Julie Albert or the Albert family?
I've learned of accusations. I don't know the extent of how familiar they are.
What accusations have you learned?
Through trial or through court proceedings.
Right. What are they? Give me the nature of what you've learned.
Objection.
Sustained. We need a time frame.
Sure. When did you learn of this information?
That was July of 2023, I believe.
And what were the circumstances in which you gained this knowledge? What did you learn about it?
There were accusations that Michael Proctor had familial friendship with these individuals, but the accusations were not factual.
Did you learn any specifics?
Of
the allegations? You used the word allegations? Or I think you used the word accusations?
Yes.
Were there any specifics?
There were.
You just said that what were some of the specifics?
Objection.
Sustained.
Well, by the way, did you say that you learned of these accusations during the last proceeding in this case?
Not the last proceeding.
Or a prior proceeding in this case?
It was through court proceedings.
Okay. How did you learn that specifically, Sergeant? Did you watch some of the proceedings? Were they televised? Did someone report it to you? What were the circumstances?
I was present in court.
This was what year? 2023. 2023.
Yes.
And did you take any action to investigate further the accusations that you said came up in 2023?
No. Well, yes, I did. Yes.
Okay. What did you do in that regard? What were the accusations and what did you do to investigate?
Information had been learned and that it was not factual, so.
Okay. You're using the word information. Help me out. Details. What'd you learn?
There was claims that,
I object.
Sustained.
May we approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Sidebar.
Final question, Sergeant. I think I asked this, but let me make sure I'm clear. Your interview, along with Michael Proctor, with Chris and Julie Albert, was February 10th, 2022, correct?
I believe so.
Okay.
I'm not certain on that, but I believe it was.
Okay. Well, let me just clear that up real quick. Would it refresh your recollection to look at your report?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Does that refresh your recollection, Sergeant?
Yes, sir.
What was the date?
February 10th.
Thank you. Okay, I want to move back to Canton PD. Did you at some point recover some videos or a series of electronic data that purported to be videos from Canton PD in furtherance of your investigation?
Yes.
And to whom did you deliver these videos, and whom were they requested by?
The initial request was by Michael Proctor. I delivered them to him.
Okay. Since that delivery, have you seen these videos?
Yes, I have.
Just to establish the foundation so we know what we're talking about, did you see on some of the electronic devices that you picked up in furtherance of this investigation video of somebody outside? Now, the outside cameras or outside camera view at Canton PD at about 1:30 in the morning on January 29th, 2022.
Digital video, one of the collection items. It wasn't a device. It was, well, I guess it is a device, but the digital storage that was collected had video from external view of the PD. I do not remember specifically seeing an individual, but I did review it.
Being of the parking lot area, at least one of them, one of the clips being of the parking lot area outside Canton PD?
I don't remember seeing outside parking lot. I'd have to see it.
I understand. Do you remember another clip being of the outside Sally Port? There's a pedestrian door, not the big roll-up door, but a pedestrian door, someone going in and out of the pedestrian door?
I know the view you're talking about, but specifically what you're stating, I would have to see the video, tell you if I saw it or not.
And I'm asking a couple of these other questions. I think I may know what the answer is. There's another, do you remember another video being an internal corridor, looking down a hallway, seeing someone walk up or back?
Yes,
Do you
yes,
remember that one?
I do.
Okay, and then one on the outside, again, sort of passing from right to left, may not be attended to a parking lot, but at least an outdoor view of someone moving from frame right to frame left across the camera angle?
I don't remember that.
Do you remember that all these videos, I just mentioned 4, we've talked about 4, these videos were from January 29th, 2022, around generally 1:30, 1:45, 2 o'clock in the morning?
I'm sorry, I don't remember the exact time and date. I just remember seeing the file and reviewing it.
Do you remember Mr. Proctor asking for video attendant to January 29th? At least can we narrow it to that date?
From Canton PD?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So these are all from January 29th, 2022. You just don't remember the specifics of them. It's been too long since you've seen them.
I don't know when each video was collected and then reviewed.
Okay.
Exactly.
With the court's permission, well, may I have just a moment to confer with counsel?
Okay.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, I'd ask that what's been marked as GG, at least the first video, be published for the jurors.
All right, so there are 4 videos on this flash drive?
One video, 4 different camera angles as it's set from the one video.
Are you ready to see this now? I thought you wanted to review it.
I'll agree, and if I have a problem, I'll let the court know. I have no problem.
All right, so for the first one, the first camera angle?
Correct.
Okay.
It's one video, but 4 different angles.
All right, we just have to keep a record. That's why I'm
Understood.
asking all these
It's
questions.
a little complicated, I get it.
All right, we can do that.
Thank you. Sergeant, would you agree that we can call this the rear lot main side at Canton PD, just for identification purposes?
Sure, if you'd like. I don't know which side this is, so I can't argue with you about the location. So
Okay.
I'll agree with you that we can call it that.
Great. It looks like a parking lot. There's cars.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just for purposes of, so it doesn't get complicated, we'll call this rear lot main side. That doesn't mean anything unless you adopt it. So just for identification purposes.
Thank you.
If we could move to runtime 1:26:32. Okay. With the court's permission, may I play it at this point?
Okay.
Thank you. Stop. Did you see a car pass in front?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What kind of car did that look like to you?
It looked like a 2-door Jeep Wrangler with a plow on it.
Okay. Let's go ahead and play it. Okay, stop. Sergeant, did you, during the course of your investigation, learn whether or not anybody associated with your investigation had a two-door Jeep Wrangler with a plow on it?
Yes.
Who is that?
Mr. Brian Higgins.
Okay, thank you. Let's go ahead and play this. Okay, stop. Sir, do you see a person who appears to have alighted from the car?
Yes.
From the Jeep? Sergeant, if you could turn your attention to the screen on the right, does that appear to be the location of the person that you're describing?
That's the individual that came out of the vehicle, yes.
Okay. I know it's super blurry. You may not be able to at this point. Do you know who that is?
I do not know.
Okay. Let's go ahead and play it. Okay, stop. All right, did you see the person walk off the screen?
Yes.
Did it appear that that person had something in his or her hands?
Possibly, yes.
Okay. If we could play the second clip on this same GG. Before this is played, Sergeant, do you recognize what's depicted in this photograph?
I do not know.
Okay. Let's go ahead and play this. Stop. What do you see on the video at this point?
Individual crossing the frame with a couple of cars parked, one of which has a plow on it.
Does it look like an exterior video?
Yes.
Does that appear to be an exterior video if you don't know exactly where, an exterior video of Canton PD?
From the facilities, yes.
And describe the person that you see in the foreground at the bottom of the screen.
Appears to be wearing a black sweatshirt, a hooded sweatshirt.
Larger in stature, smaller in stature, can you tell?
I'd be speculating because there's no comparison, but possibly larger. I don't know.
Okay, let's go ahead and play it. And that's it for that. Your Honor, if we could play the next video. By the way, can we agree, before we move off of this, just for identification purposes, can we agree to call this rear lot cruiser side as opposed to rear lot main side, just to keep them separate?
Same as last time. I'm not familiar where that camera is, so I cannot argue with you nor adopt. But if for identification purposes only, we can agree on that.
Can you see from where you are, I know the answer to this, can you see from where you are the timestamp on the bottom of this?
No.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, it's very, very small. Is it possible to ask the witness to adjourn from the witness stand just to get close enough to see if he can read the...
You can't increase the size of it?
Maybe we can. I'm not the tech guy. Mr. Woke? Magic. Wow. I didn't even know he could do that. Okay. Can you read that?
Yes, it says rear lot cruiser side.
What about the time?
The timestamp reads 1/27/41.
Do you see a date?
Yes.
What is that date?
1/29/2022.
Thank you. This was my fault. Your Honor, if we could move back to rear lot main side, I'd like to do the same thing. I failed to ask for the time and date on that one. Is it possible to see from there the time and date?
Yes, the time is 1:27:32 a.m. and the date is 1/29/2022.
Thank you. If we can move to the third clip. If we can start, Mr. Wolk, by enhancing with the court's permission the time and date. Let's just start with that. Do you see what the timestamp designates this camera angle to be?
It appears to be church side, and I can't read the third word there.
Exterior?
Oh, yes, exterior. Sally port.
Okay, and if you could tell the jurors what you see in terms of the time and date.
The time is 1:27:43 a.m., and the date is 1/29/2022.
Thank you. Stop. Do you see a person in that video?
I do.
Although it's somewhat blurry, can you describe that individual for us, please?
Individual wearing dark clothing, possibly. That's the best I could do, really.
Okay. Does it appear, given what you've seen in terms of the time, of the main side, cruiser side, and now this exterior church side, does that appear to be the same person moving through on the outside of Kenton PD?
It does.
And what are we looking at here, by the way? What is this door he's about to walk into?
I'd be guessing. I was never present on that side of the Sally Port.
Understood.
I don't know.
Let's go ahead and play this. Okay. And for the final clip, if we could go down to the timestamp and date, can you see what that is designated as that camera angle?
Yes, it says first floor corridor, and the time is 1:28:03 a.m. on the 29th of January, 2022.
Okay. Is this the corridor version or video that you did have some recollection of?
Yes, this is, yes.
Okay. If we can go ahead and play this. Stop. Do you recognize the person in this video?
It appears to be Mr. Brian Higgins.
Okay. And what is he wearing? Describe it for the jurors.
Black sweatshirt with some sort of logo on the front. It appears to be blue jeans and shoes with a white trim.
And is the hood up or down on the sweatshirt?
It's up.
Okay. Let's go ahead and play this. Can you make note of the time as it's paused right here?
Do you want me to say it again or
Yes,
write
sir.
it down?
Yes, sir.
The time is 1:28:16 a.m.
Okay. And if we could just continue playing this video. Stop. If you could take a look at the time now. What's that time?
1:29:42
Okay.
a.m.
If we could take a look at the time one more time.
Now it's, you want me to say it?
Yes, sir.
1:34:12 a.m.
And in the time, just so the record's clear, in the time between you saying 1:28:16 to 1:34:12, 6 minutes has not gone by, correct?
Just under 6, I believe, yeah.
Well, 6 minutes for us in real time.
Oh, in real time, yeah, no.
It is not. So it
Sorry.
appears that the camera jumped, or the time jumped.
The time difference from what was displayed is approximately 6 minutes, yes.
Okay, which is much further, much longer than the time we've actually been looking at the video, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, so it appears that it may be motion activated and it just jumped.
That's a possibility, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
let's go ahead and continue playing this. And stop. Do you see someone in the screen now?
Yes.
And one more time, I know this is laborious, one more time if we could clock the time. Can you see that?
No, it's really blurry for me.
There we go.
Yes. Now I can see it 1:34:15, if I'm not mistaken, a.m.
Okay, fair enough. And let's go ahead and play this all the way through. Who did that appear to be walking away from the camera in this shot?
I'm not certain. I would be suspecting or guessing if I gave you an answer, but I'm not certain who that is.
As best you can determine, does he have the same stature? I know you can't see his face. Same stature, same clothing, jeans, shoes with white stripe around it, dark hooded sweatshirt. Does it appear to be the same person as Brian Higgins?
It does appear that way, yes.
Okay. There's one more clip. Okay. What do you see in this video?
Appears to be the church side Sally Port, and an individual came out of the door.
Okay. And can we highlight the time, please? What time do you see there?
1:34:40 a.m.
Okay. If we go ahead and play this through. Pause. Does it appear from this video that the person has anything in his hand?
I'm sorry, can you play that again? I wasn't looking at the hand, but
Sure.
I really can't tell.
Okay. There should be another video of the rear lot cruiser side. Let's take a look at that. Pause. What do you see in that video?
It appears to be an individual wearing a black beanie hat, black dark colored sweatshirt with some design on it, and something illuminating by his face.
Can we enhance the time, please? What time is that?
It says 1:34 and 53 seconds in the morning, a.m.
And if you could move the screen over to the individual. Does that appear to be the same person?
Could possibly be, yeah.
And does it appear as something in his hands up to his face, the right side of his face or ear?
Yes.
What do you think that is?
It's consistent with a cellular device, possibly a phone or a tablet.
Okay. If we could move on, please. Play that through. And I believe there's one more video. And Your Honor, this one is a little longer. This is about 10 minutes.
Okay.
With the court's permission, I'd like to play this through. Okay, stop. Do you see a person in the video walking from screen right to screen left?
Yes.
Did that person appear to have something in his right hand?
I can't tell. I can't see his right hand.
Okay. When he first walked into the screen, could you tell?
I couldn't know. I'm sorry.
Mr. Wolk, could we back that up with the court's permission about 2 seconds? Okay. Stop. Did it appear as something in his hand?
It's a possibility, yes.
Okay. And just for, I'm going to ask you for 2 times when we start and when we stop. What's the time on this video at this point when he walks into frame?
1:35 and 8 seconds in the morning, a.m.
Okay. And let's go ahead and play this through. Pause it, please. Sergeant, at this point, do you see a person walking into the frame into the video from frame left to frame right?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Can you pause it? Did you see something happen with the vehicle next to the Jeep in the last few seconds?
Yes.
What was that?
It appears as though the headlights are activated.
Okay, let's go ahead and play it. Okay, pause it. You see a person that is walking from screen right to screen left in the middle of the screen?
Yes, he just, or she just appears to have closed the door on that vehicle next to the plow.
Okay. And walking toward which vehicle?
The one on the furthest on the left.
Okay. From what you've seen, Sergeant, that you said he or she, does that person appear to be consistent with the video that we've seen of, in other particulars, of Brian Higgins?
As far as I could tell from here, the individual accessed Brian Higgins' vehicle, so
Right.
I'd be speculating with the whiteout conditions or near whiteout conditions. It's tough to tell.
But no reason to believe that it's anybody other than Brian Higgins accessing Brian Higgins' vehicle.
No.
Let's go ahead and play it. And what do you see Brian Higgins or that person doing now?
They accessed the vehicle on the far left.
Okay. And where's that person going?
Now they're accessing the Jeep Wrangler.
Can you pause it? Where does that individual appear to be now in the video?
Last I could tell, they might be by the Jeep Wrangler.
Before that person got to the Jeep Wrangler, was he standing by the vehicle on the far left? SUV or truck?
It appeared that way, but with the heavy whiteout snow that night, I can't tell exactly what they were doing.
Did you see anything in his hand, like a bag or a satchel or a duffel bag or something, when that person walked from this vehicle over to the Jeep?
I did not notice, no.
Go ahead. Now, has that person walked off screen to the left?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And do you see that person entering screen from screen left?
Yes.
What did you just see the person do?
They were carrying possibly like a snow broom, walking from left to right.
What do you see happening now?
The Jeep Wrangler's leaving the spot it was parked in.
Okay. Okay, we can take that down. Oh, I'm sorry. I failed to ask you the time. I promised I would do it, and I forgot again. Can we look at the time real quick?
Yes, the time for the rear lot main side is 1:45:52.
And it appears that's the approximate time that the Jeep Wrangler drove off?
Approximately, yes.
Okay, thank you. Are you friends with Brian Higgins?
I am not.
Do you know Brian Higgins?
I know who he is, yes.
Have you ever socialized with Brian Higgins?
Like out on private time?
Go out, have a beer,
No.
see him at a bar, hey Brian, let's grab a beer, nothing like that?
No.
How long have you known Mr. Higgins?
I'd be speculating. It's before this case, he was a law enforcement individual that worked in the area, so I've had cases where he assisted on and that I've assisted on.
Would you consider yourself to have a professional relationship with him?
I knew who he was, so yes, I would consider it a professional relationship.
But you would not consider your relationship to have gone over to the personal relationship? You don't
Not at all.
socialize, do any private get-togethers?
No.
You would agree that this video pretty clearly shows, at least at one point, around 1:34 a.m., Brian Higgins was on his phone.
Is that the one that he has the device by his face?
Correct.
It appears that way, yes.
And just to be clear, when you interviewed Mr. Higgins, he did not volunteer to give you his phone, correct?
He did not volunteer it, no.
And you didn't seek his phone through a warrant or any other mechanism?
I did not, no.
Do you have any personal knowledge as to the status of that phone as we sit here today?
The one that he got the extractions from?
Correct.
No idea, no.
I want to shift gears to another series of videos. Last year at another proceeding, you were asked about a couple of videos from the interior Sallyport garage at Kenton PD. So now we're going to move to the interior. You remember those series of questions and answers that you gave?
Generally.
Okay. You were asked at another proceeding to describe when the SUV, Miss Reed's SUV, first arrived at the Sallyport garage around 5:30 or so, correct?
Based on my recollection of it first arriving or what we were viewing?
No, what you were viewing.
I'm objecting to this.
Ask it differently, Mr. Jackson.
Do you remember being asked a series of questions concerning the arrival of the SUV, just in general?
I remember that it happened. I don't remember the exact questions on what my answers were.
And you remember seeing a video about which you were asked questions concerning the arrival of that SUV, pulling into the Sallyport, who was who, what the time frame was generally. Do you remember that colloquy, that discussion?
I remember it taking place, yes.
That was Mr. Lally asking you questions, correct?
I believe so.
Under questioning by the Commonwealth, you were asked whether the video that you were looking at fairly and accurately represented the SUV arriving at the Sallyport garage, correct?
Yes.
And you indicated, in fact, it did fairly and accurately depict the arrival of the SUV at the Sallyport garage. Is that right?
That's correct.
I'd like to ask you a question about that particular video. Your Honor, I'm holding a flash drive. May I approach?
Yes.
May I have a moment to consult with counsel?
Okay. Jurors, you know what? Let's take the luncheon break.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Do is have the voir dire right now to see what Sergeant Buhkenik knew regarding that line of testimony you wanted to get into. So let's do that now, and then you can all work out the video issues.
Yes. Okay. May I inquire briefly?
Yes.
Thank you. Sergeant, we were talking before the jury left, we were talking a little bit about the conversation that you had with Michael Proctor either during or just after that first interview with Chris and Julie Albert. What I'd like to ask you is, what information did you have and what did you ultimately learn about their relationship? You said there were some accusations and we never really got to the heart of it. What did you know and what did you do to investigate? Or what did you learn?
What I knew as we were walking up to the door is that he had knowledge of the individuals prior to us conducting the interview. I asked him if he knew them personally. My words, do you hang out with them? Do you socialize with them? He said, no, I do not. I said, are you comfortable doing this interview? And he said, yes. And me being a complete outsider and his supervisor and realizing if there was any impropriety that I would step in and recognize it, report it, and act on that. The interview was conducted without issue, and we moved on.
As a matter of fact, one of the things in Trooper Proctor's report, it said, the report started with following formal introductions. Did that suggest to you that Trooper Proctor had no knowledge of who Chris or Julie Albert were from a personal standpoint?
Not at all. I believe maybe I wrote the report, or was it him?
Yes, I think it is you.
Yeah, so
May I approach one?
Yes.
Just so you have it.
Thank you. Yeah, since I authored the report, I wrote following formal introductions since I've never met them before.
Okay, so that was more attended to you than to Michael Proctor.
Correct.
But the report does say we introduced ourselves, basically. Following formal introductions.
Greeted, but I had formal introductions to them. I've never met them before in my life.
You said that subsequently you learned about, your word, accusations that had been made concerning possible relationship between Michael Proctor and the Alberts. What was that information that you learned?
When was it? I need that.
When did you learn it? I thought you said 2023, but I could be wrong. When did you learn that?
I believe during the July motion proceedings when you guys had pictures up of children.
July of what year?
I believe 2023.
Okay. And what was it that you learned in July of 2023 about the potential...
The accusations?
Yeah.
That those were Albert's or McCabe's kids in the photograph with Michael Proctor?
Okay. Did you ever learn about personal communications that Michael Proctor or his wife may have had with any of the Albert family, including Julie Albert?
Ever?
Ever.
Yes.
Okay. Tell me when you learned that and what you learned in that order.
Well, Michael Proctor had communicated with those individuals, Elizabeth Proctor and communicated with those individuals due to the harassment that they've sustained.
Okay.
So with the crazy behavior that's been imposed on them and the torturous harassment that they've endured, the traumatic experiences they've had to live through, they've communicated. So I've learned about that, yes. I was taking in all of that evidence, hundreds and pieces of evidence that I've archived in order to...
Go ahead. In order to?
Investigate it.
Okay. You're talking about Elizabeth Proctor well after the fact of the interview and the incident in 2022. That's what you were just describing.
It was after the harassment started, yes.
Which is well after January 29, 2022, correct?
January 20, yes, it is.
Okay. I'm asking about information related to a relationship prior to January 29th, 2022? Did you ever learn about a pre-existing relationship that may have existed between the Proctor family and the Albert family before January 29th, 2022, and maybe a couple of days after?
All I know is that there was a relationship explanation provided by Mr. Lally during one of the motions, and it was like 6 degrees separated by individuals residing in the community, living in the community, raising their kids in the community, working in the community, so making them community members and having relationship within that. I don't know the extent of those relationships.
Okay. Did you, during that hearing where you said there were pictures of the kids and et cetera, that July 2023 hearing, did you see a Facebook post during the course of that hearing wherein the Albert family called the Proctor family their second family, or vice versa, where the Proctor family, Michael Proctor's mother, they've called the Alberts their second family? You remember that Facebook post?
I don't remember seeing that post. I just remember there were like a picture of kids that weren't Michael Proctor's kids.
Okay, but you were in court that day.
I was in court in July, I believe it was 23rd of July, for the motion, yeah.
Leaving aside the photographs that you've talked about, did you see the Facebook post about those two families, specifically Michael Proctor's mom, saying that the Alberts were their, quote, second family?
I don't remember seeing that post.
That didn't strike you, or that was not in your brain, in your head?
I don't think I've ever seen a post like that, so I just remember seeing the post of the kids. I believe it was Miss Little that was holding up the poster.
What about the text messages, or what about any text messages between Michael Proctor and his sister concerning Julie Albert, very specifically concerning Julie Albert? Are you aware of those?
No.
Have you ever seen a text message between between Courtney Proctor and Michael Proctor, where the sister says, Julie wants to give you a gift because you're doing such a great job leading this, meaning this investigation?
No.
Are you aware of a text message in which Michael Proctor responds, get it for my wife? Meaning, if you're going to give us a gift, get the gift for my wife.
No idea.
Okay. Are you aware of a series of text messages between and among Michael Proctor and Courtney Proctor in which they talk about Julie Albert? This is 10 days before the incident, 10 days before January 29th, so mid-January, where they talk about the possibility of Julie Albert babysitting for Michael Proctor and Elizabeth Proctor's kids.
I am not aware of those text messages.
This is the first you've heard of any of those.
Of these text messages?
The text messages that I'm describing, have you ever heard of any of those?
No.
Okay. Did you ever talk to or investigate the circumstance of the possibility, even the remote possibility, that Michael Proctor may have had a relationship with the Alberts that you were unaware of?
No, I never investigated anything like that.
So after your initial conversation with Mr. Proctor, where he said, I know of these people, and you said, is there any issue with you going forward? And he said, no, there's no issue. You took no further steps after that to investigate that relationship. And I'm talking about the relationship that existed on or around January 29th, 2022, not in 2023, not in 2024.
Once Michael Proctor stated that he was comfortable conducting the interview, and I asked him if he was sure, and he said yes, we moved on.
Last couple of questions. Were you in court? I know you're indicating that you've never heard about these text messages. Were you in court in February of 2024 following the federal investigation revelation, the documents that we got from both sides got from the federal investigation, which revealed in open court the text messages about gift giving between Courtney Proctor and Michael Proctor? Hey, Judy wants to get you a gift. And Michael Proctor's response was, get it for Elizabeth. Were you in court when those were revealed?
Following the harassment, intimidation that I experienced on the 23rd, being followed into the bathroom, then being followed outside, I stopped coming to court proceedings due to that. So I was not in court in February of 2024 and describing the information that you're revealing. I was not aware of that detail.
All of these proceedings are televised, Sergeant. You know that, right?
I'm not aware that it's televised, no. I know it streams, but I'm not aware that it's televised.
Okay, streamed. Whatever you want to call it. Streamed on the internet. You can find it.
You can, yes.
They're recorded.
Right.
Did you ever review the hearing in February 2024 talking about what's been referred to as the Fed dump and the revelations that were made pursuant to that federal investigation and the text messages attendant thereto?
I am aware of a Fed dump. I'm aware that it exists. I was not privileged to any information outside of the information that was revealed to me during the internal affairs investigation.
Right.
That was the first time I saw documents from that federal investigation.
By the way, were you privy to Michael? There were three individuals involved in the investigation: yourself, Lieutenant Tully, and Michael Proctor. Is that right?
In what investigation?
The internal affairs investigation.
I'm aware that I was. I know they were as well. I don't know who else might have been involved. I don't know.
In terms of your awareness of Michael Proctor's investigation, you're aware, obviously, that he was terminated, correct?
I am aware that he's terminated, yes.
Did you ever see or were privy to any of the documents or investigative materials associated with his termination as his supervisor?
No.
So nothing was ever shared with you, the final decision?
Other than the documents that he was attached in the text message that I was shown from that investigation, nobody showed me anything of his investigation.
Okay, so let's wrap this up.
Okay, that was basically all I had.
Okay, all right. Do you want to be heard, Mr. Jackson? Okay. Yeah, I'm not letting any of this in.
I mean, no, man. No, man, you gotta give one, man. Me bumbo!
Okay, so you got your voir dire, and I'm glad we flushed it all out. Be back here at 25 up. Ready to go. All right, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you. Just before the lunch break, Sergeant, I asked whether you had engaged in a discussion with the Commonwealth at a prior proceeding in which you were shown a video and you talked about the fairness and accuracy of that particular video in the Sally Port when the SUV was first pulled in. And you did indicate that it was fair and accurate, correct?
Yes, back then, yes. Yep.
I want to play a copy, a bit of that video, if I could, please, with the court's permission.
Okay, is it in evidence?
It is not. I would ask that we mark thumb drive.
Were we marking this for identification, or is there an agreement it's going into evidence?
I'd like it into evidence.
We agree with the stipulation that it's authentic.
I'm not going to argue metadata issues or authenticity issues. So,
all right, so is there a stipulation that this is authentic? Okay, so folks, again, a stipulation means the parties agree, and with that, I will allow this into evidence as the next exhibit. Okay, now you may display it.
Thank you. This is at 5:37:03. If we could just play this forward for a couple of seconds. A little bit further. Pause. Do you see what's depicted in this video?
Yes, I do.
This is the video that you were shown at a prior proceeding, correct?
Yes, it is.
Does this appear to be the interior of the Sally Port at Canton PD?
Yes, it is.
And this is what you were questioned about regarding the SUV being pulled into the Sally Port, correct?
Yes.
From a time frame standpoint, just the time frame, this is right after the SUV has been driven in from the flatbed after having been seized in Dighton, correct?
Yes, it was driven off of the flatbed after transportation from Dighton to Canton PD and driven into the Sally Port.
All right. You previously have identified individuals in this video, in this still shot, correct?
Yes.
And what you previously said, and then we'll get to subsequent testimony in a second, you previously indicated that the person to the right was you, person to the left, Michael Proctor, correct?
Yes, previously I identified that being Michael Proctor. I was mistaken. That is not me on the right.
That would be the tow truck driver, correct?
That's correct.
That is, in fact, Michael Proctor, however, in the two-tone jacket, correct?
I believe so.
Okay. And as the video is portrayed, at least as we're looking at it, and I'll get to the next question next, as we're looking at it, it appears that we're looking at the right passenger side of the vehicle, as it appears in this video, correct?
That's correct.
And you see a timestamp and a date stamp on the bottom.
It is present. I don't know what it says.
Can you see what that says?
I believe it says interior, Sally Port, back wall,
Okay.
537, maybe.
Okay. When you indicated that this was a fair and accurate depiction of the interior Sally Port when the SUV was brought in, you were specifically asked whether or not you or Michael Proctor approached or manipulated or touched the right rear taillight area of the vehicle, correct?
I don't remember the exact verbiage used, but something along those lines. That's what was asked.
And you indicated that neither of you did, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. But in point of fact, this video is backward, correct?
Yes, it is a mirror image of what is actually taking place as recorded by the camera.
Can we play this forward? Yes. Do you see where Mr. Proctor, let's go ahead and pause it. Do you see where Mr. Proctor went?
Yes, the video depicts him going to that portion of the vehicle, but we can't tell how close he is.
Okay. And the back, from all appearances, importantly, it appears to be the back driver's side, back left of the vehicle, correct?
That's the way it appears, yes.
Let's play this forward for a second. Pause. Can I ask you to pay special note to the far rear side of the vehicle? Do you see what appears to be Mr. Proctor's head?
Yes.
As the tow truck driver walks past the rear of the vehicle, can you watch and tell me if you see Mr. Proctor do anything or move in any way? Pause. Did you see any volitional movement by Mr. Proctor as the tow truck driver moved past him?
Yes, it appears if that is his head, it shifted weight.
Okay. Let's go ahead and play it forward. Stop. Did you see a person that appeared to morph toward the back of the vehicle? Right there.
There is some anomaly there with the footage, so it could possibly be used to describe that what took place.
Can you recognize that person?
I cannot know.
Does that person look large or small in stature?
I can't tell.
As compared to, for instance, Michael Proctor, whose head you can see above the car. What about this person? Taller, shorter than Michael Proctor?
I can't tell from here. I can't.
You indicated that Chief Berkowitz was a smaller statured person, correct?
I never said that.
I'm sorry?
I didn't know his height.
Larger or smaller, generally? How about this? Larger or smaller than you?
He's shorter than me.
Okay. Can you tell whether or not that is Chief Berkowitz?
I cannot know.
Okay, let's go ahead and play it for him. And a little bit further. Pause. What does it appear that Mr. Proctor does at this point in the video?
He's walking.
Okay. Do you see anything in his hand?
I cannot tell from the video, but that he might be carrying something.
Remember we looked previously at a portfolio, black portfolio. Does it appear that he may have a black portfolio in his hand?
That is very likely, but I don't know exactly what he's carrying.
Okay, let's go ahead and play this forward. Okay. And did it appear that somebody just appeared at the front right, the right-hand side of the screen toward the front of the SUV as well?
Yes, it appears that way, yes.
Okay. Let's take this down. I'd like to mark. I have another electronic device, a thumb drive, that has another video on it, Your Honor. I'd like to have that marked as next in order. Court's permission?
All right, so there's no objection, Mr. Bryan?
No objection, thank you.
With the court's permission?
Yes.
Now, Sergeant, what does this show?
It appears to be the mirror image of the previous footage. I don't know the exact timestamp there, but...
Can we increase the date and time? Can you read the date and timestamp on this Chiron?
I cannot know.
It's because it's backward, correct?
I can't read it. I can't make it out, sir.
Can you make it any bigger, Mr. Wolk? Does that appear to be backward?
Based on me recognizing some of the digits, it does appear to be backwards.
Okay, let's look at the whole screen again. Sergeant, let's play this forward for just a quick second. Pause. Do you see Michael Proctor in this video?
I believe that's him, yes.
And which side, and let's start with this. Do you agree that this is the correct version of the camera angle and the SUV as it pulled into the Sally Port?
This is the footage, the way that is depicted right now is very accurately very accurately represents what I remember from being there.
In fact, this side of the vehicle that we're looking at that's closest to us, that I'm highlighting on the screen to your right, that is in fact the driver's side of the vehicle, not the passenger side of the vehicle. Is that correct?
That is correct.
The far side over here would be the right rear of the vehicle, correct?
Yes, sir.
Which area is Michael Proctor walking to? The left rear or the right rear in this footage?
It appears if that's him, he's walking to the right rear of the vehicle.
Can we play this forward? And do you see Mr. Proctor's head above the SUV?
Yes.
And watch him as the tow truck driver walks by. Did he appear to move?
He shifted weight, yes.
And it appears that there's another person that showed up in the footage, an anomaly of some sort, walking off screen left to right. Is that right?
That's what it appears, yes.
Is Mr. Proctor still at the right rear taillight area?
He's in that general vicinity, yes.
Let's go ahead and play it forward. A little bit further. Pause. Can you see anything in his hand? Let me just ask it closed in. Do you see the portfolio in his hand?
It would not be unlikely that it's there, but I can't tell exactly what it is in his hand.
Let's play it forward. Do you see anything in his hand now as his arms?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Does it appear to be consistent with the black portfolio that we saw earlier?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Let's move forward. And he is now off screen, correct?
Yes.
So, in point of fact, Sergeant, when you were asked previously whether the prior video fairly and accurately depicted what you recall as it pertains to the SUV and the Sally Port, that was not quite true, correct?
I'll allow it.
The way I understood the question is what I'm watching accurately depicts what's taking place. It is. Just because it's a mirror image doesn't mean that it's not recording what the actions and what is transpiring.
But you would agree, at least, that the previous video showed exactly the opposite of what was true and correct, not just a mirror image. What was left is right, and what is right is left, correct?
Yes.
Stand us to that, Phil.
Would you agree that in point of fact, a mirror image video is not a true and accurate depiction of what's depicted in a scene?
I think it just is a mirror image of what's taking place. If you see someone walking in or driving a vehicle and it's depicting the action of the vehicle being pulled in, and if it's mirrored, it's pulling in from left to right or right to left. It's still documenting the activity that's taking place.
Or if someone walks to the left rear of the vehicle versus the right rear of the vehicle, those two things will be switched, correct?
That is correct, yes.
And you'll agree that the prior video that we showed, that you and I just talked about, the inverted video, appeared for all intents and purposes to show Michael Proctor stay away from the from the right rear taillight, walk all the way around, and position himself to the left rear taillight. You'd agree with that, correct?
Objection.
Do you agree with that?
It appeared that is what was happening, but he was standing next to the taillight that was already damaged.
But in the corrected video, which is this one, it actually shows unequivocally that Michael Proctor walked directly to the right rear taillight portion of this SUV, correct?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Sure. In the corrected video, this video here, this unequivocally shows that Michael Proctor walked toward the right rear area of that SUV, where the right taillight is, correct?
Yes.
And you'll also agree that this video was taken before any taillight material was ever found at 34 Fairview, correct?
Can you zoom in on the time?
Not on this one, this is backwards.
I know that the SUV pulled into the garage, the Sally Port, at 5:35, and we were still on scene at 5:51, almost 52. So, yes, if that's timestamp before 5:51, before we left Canton PD, then yes, taillight pieces had already been found.
So 5:35, 5:37 is before the first taillight pieces were found.
I'd have to see a timestamp of when they were exactly found, but if
Let me
that...
ask it a different way. 5:37, 5:35, or 5:45.
Yes.
May I have just a moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
Sergeant, Canton PD is about a mile and a half from 34 Fairview, is that right?
Approximately. I don't know the exact distance. I never measured it, but I would not be shocked if you were accurate in that.
Maybe a 3 or 4 minute drive.
Depending on the traffic conditions and the weather conditions, that could be a possibility, depending on the speed you travel.
Thank you. Let me ask you a couple of other questions. We just looked at the videos of the interior of the Sally Port. Harkening back to what we just looked at, the corrected video, there would also be a camera on the other side of that Sally Port garage pointing down toward the right rear taillight area of the SUV, correct?
Yes.
There's a camera situated on the opposite side. We'd be looking at that camera, correct?
Yes.
Okay, taking a look at that photograph, I know the quality of it, but can you tell if that appears to be a still image from that camera?
Yes, it appears to be a still image from that video camera.
I'd ask that this be moved into evidence, Your Honor.
Is there an objection?
No objection. Thank you.
Thank you. If we could display this for the jurors, Your Honor, just the photograph.
Okay.
Do you see what's depicted? I know the photograph that you're holding is very poor quality. It's a little easier with this lighting. Do you recognize what's depicted in this photograph?
I'm sorry, your laser was bouncing off onto the ceiling. I
I was trying to
apologize.
make it easier for you.
Yeah.
This photograph here.
That appears to be the seized SUV belonging to the defendant, with it being situated inside the Sally Port.
And what is that vehicle there?
It's an antique police cruiser.
And who is this person?
I do not know who that is.
Does that look like Michael Proctor?
I don't know. I'd have to get a zoom in. I don't know. I don't know. It could be Chief Berkowitz. I don't know.
Can you tell me the date that's on the timestamp at the bottom?
I cannot. I think I might be able to make it out in the actual photograph you printed out. Could I take a look at that?
Sure.
Yes, please, Your Honor. It appears the time is 11:08 and 59 seconds in the morning of possibly January 30th of 2022.
Okay. Let's go ahead and pull this back out full frame.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask you, do you have a point of reference? Does that appear to be the interior camera facing the other direction where the SUV was depicted in the Sally Port earlier?
It's the opposite of what we had viewed earlier, diagonally across, I believe.
So this would be the right rear of the vehicle, correct?
That is correct.
Now I'd like to ask you to take a look at a video.
So there's no objection, Mr. Brennan?
I have no objection to that being entered now.
Go ahead and play it. Pause. Can you make out, now that that's paused, can you make out what's depicted toward the top of the screen?
Yes, it appears to be a distorted image of that antique police cruiser.
Okay. And does the area next to the police cruiser appear to be empty? Some snow on the ground?
Yes, it does. Actually, yes, it does look that way, yes.
Okay. So there's nothing next to the police cruiser, at least at this point, correct?
That's what it appears to be, yes.
Can we take a look at the timestamp on this document or on this frame? I'd ask you to let the jurors know if you can see what the actual runtime is on this.
I could see the timestamp. I don't know the runtime, what it's going to be.
It's 5:07, 10 or 12, something like that?
That's the timestamp, yes.
Okay.
Yes, PM.
Now, if we could just play this forward, go back to full screen. Pause. Now, how many seconds would you estimate, just in your head, just went by in real time?
Approximately 5 seconds.
Okay. Do you see something in the video now?
Yes.
What is that?
It appears to be the seized Lexus SUV.
And now let's look at the timestamp. What time is that?
5:47 PM.
So in about, according to your testimony, in about 5 seconds, the time jumped from before the SUV was in the Sally Port to about 5:50 p.m. after the SUV had already arrived and is now situated in the Sally Port, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
The time frame that we just saw earlier, about 5:35, 5:36 or so, with the tow truck driver and Michael Proctor in the video, that is not in this video. It's not captured in this video, was it?
It did not present itself, no.
Oh, I have.